second weekly Cash Sports Media Sports Desk, and we'll start out today by talking about the Utah State men's basketball team. They dropped 105 points on Oakland on Sunday in the semifinal game of the collegeinsider.com postseason tournament. Shot a ridiculous percentage at 12 of 16 threes, and they're playing in the championship game Wednesday night against Mercer at 7 p.m. From a team that was 14-14 a few weeks ago, they got a chance to get to 22 wins, and they've, even though it's not the NCAA's, they've pretty much turned their season around, I would say.
Yeah, the Aggies are, I think, one of 5 teams that have won 20+, 13 seasons in a row, and they're shooting where they should be. They're in familiar territory, shooting, I think, 21st in the nation, field goal percentage-wise. And like I said, I think Aggies should play on Sunday more often, maybe.
What are your thoughts on the Aggies this year, Dawson?
I think I'm not the only one who thinks this, but where has this play been all season? This Aggies team looked like they could have contended in the WAC early on if they had played this hard. And they're playing well in the CIT tournament, and maybe if they could have played well in the WAC tournament, they could have made some noise this year in the tournament.
I harped on this a little bit last week, and certainly I think this team has had this ability all year. They showcased it in certain games on the road at Nevada, where they lost by a point. Mm-hmm. On the road against Mississippi State, where they lost by 2 at what was the time was the 15th ranked team in the country. But they also had some terrible games, losing at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and a few other bad losses, losing at Pacific. Mm-hmm. And so just kind of an up and down season. But I think the team has really come together. As I mentioned last week, they've overcome a lot of injuries, player departures. Morgan Grimm had, I'm going to touch on him for a minute. He had an injury at the start of the year, and he started the year playing pretty well, getting a lot of double-doubles early on. And I remember saying to Nate, wow, I didn't expect this from Morgan this year. I knew he'd be solid, but I didn't expect double-doubles. And then he kind of faded off. But we knew that because he had his foot injury, and that's kind of hampered him all year. And he said the other night after one of the games that, he had a week and a half to rest up after the WAC tournament and get healthy. And you can see that in his play right now. He had 18 points and 10 rebounds against Oakland, and he was very effective in the post with some spin moves and some drives. Mm-hmm. And he just hasn't had that all year. Certainly that isn't the only factor that contributed to the Aggies' up and down season, but he's definitely helped open up some things for the shooters. And Medlin's just been on a tear. You mentioned the early exit in the WAC tournament, and the one game in the last month where he's had an off game was that game against La Tech, where I think he only finished with 6 points, and that's the game that they lose by 2 points. But back-to-back 26-point games, he shot 9 of 13 from the field the other night, 4 of 5 from 3. So, and he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, I think he's 12th in the nation, 3-point percent, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. And Aggies are 7-1 the last 8 games, and I think that turnaround game really did come when Idaho came here and visited. You could just tell the confidence in the players talking to him afterwards. They just seemed like they were kind of more on the right page, and I think that's helped them. And good luck to them on Wednesday. It's the first time the Aggies have been in a championship game in my lifetime. And I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here with that, and that I think we're going to, there'll be a little bit of criticism about, whether this team can play in a legitimate tournament or not. I mean, it's cool to win, a collegeinsider.com tournament.
Yeah.
But, to claim that you're 134th best in the country, I don't know. I think there probably will be a little bit of backlash just saying, hey, we told you so. You guys can't play with the big boys. You guys see any of that coming from this?
Well, I think in college basketball, it's probably one of the sports where we see the most upsets. And, one question that comes up a lot is, what is an upset? Ohio State beating Syracuse. There's a 2 seed over a 1 seed. By definition, that's an upset. But really, who was the better team? And, this issue came up a few years ago when North Carolina did not make the field of 64, but then they won the NIT, and a lot of people said, well, why weren't they in the tournament? I think that if you catch any team at the right team, then they can contend with any team, and I think that's what's the case with Utah State. And it's just unfortunate that this is the time of the year when they really heat it up, because true, it's just the college insider tournament. But you could throw them maybe in the NAT, maybe in the the field of 64, and they could make some noise. It just depends on the way that you're playing, at any time.
Yeah, I'm on Dawson's side here. I mean, this team, it is the collegeinsider.com tournament, not the most prestigious postseason tournament, but the Aggies have beat some decent teams in this tournament. Loyola Marymount, who went to a ranked St. Mary's team and beat them, at St. Mary's, and beat BYU as well, I think in Provo. So, and not that BYU had a tremendous season, but they were a decent team.
And made the tournament.
As an at-large team. So, and Oakland was a team that was in the tournament last year, and I think they ended up losing the first round, but was a popular pick to pull an upset. And they lost, very similar to the Aggies, they lost 4 starters who are now playing either in the NBA developmental leagues or overseas. Overall, 4 professional basketball players from that Oakland team, and the Aggies had 4 starters that they lost as well. And so we expected a down year from the Aggies. I think most of us, maybe not to the degree that it was looking a few months ago, but the level of play that they're playing at right now, that's exciting to see going into next year. And I think with this young team, that could be beneficial in winning any postseason tournament or making a run in it is going to help them in the WAC tournament. It's going to help them in the NCAA tournament if they make it to that next season or a couple seasons down the road. I mean, we got a good group of core players here with the Aggies. So
I agree. I think it's interesting. I've kind of been a naysayer. I've been one of those guys that says, we need to play bigger teams, more important teams. But I think this postseason experience is going to be great for this team. And if Medlin plays out of his mind next year too, I think we're going to have some national coverage, in my opinion. So
definitely. We'll move on here and talk about some local high school sports. Nate's going to start us off there.
Well, another person that's played out of their mind this year, I'd say, is Karlee Kartchner out there at Mountain Crest. She had a great basketball season, was a great athlete, performed well. But recently, this past weekend in track and field, she won all of her events to help her team again. So just a lot of excitement around her out there at Mountain Crest and what she's doing, and just want to give her a little bit of attention as well. So.
Yeah, it's great to see the Valley athletes perform well. I mean, she took first in the 100-meter dash, the high jump, and the long jump. So, some various skills there. And it was a double-double machine in basketball. We'll be taking her talents to Utah Valley. So, just props to her for, the coverage that she brings here to the Valley as far as athletics goes. It's always good to see Valley athletes get recognized by media outlets outside the Valley. And certainly she's done a great job, and we're happy to cover her.
Yeah, another athlete that I have been noticing is performing is Benji Bonilla. He plays soccer for Logan. The kid's just on fire. The very first game of the year, that very snowy game against Ogden, he had a hat trick that game. The next game, they won 1-0, and he was the lone goal in that game. And just this last game they played, they lost 5-4. Really close game. They had the lead most of the game, but just couldn't keep it going. But he had another goal in that game, and he's just been playing out of his mind.
Yeah, he's been on a tear, and we should be seeing overall more Valley sports. Looking at the schedules, they're going to start having some home games this week with baseball. Softball's had a few home games. Track and field is starting up, so now's a good time to get out and catch some of these spring sports around the Valley. Lacrosse, which I know Nate's a big fan of, and I've taken a liking to as well. So
yeah, a lot of good teams in the Valley here that play lacrosse, and I think most of them are unbeaten so far this year, all being played away. So yeah, we're fun to have them home.
We're excited for that, and hopefully we'll have some good reports to bring next week talking about these teams. Real quickly, we'll move into and close with our final topic, which is more on a national scale, and that's Tiger Woods finally picking up his first PGA Tour win since his downfall, since September of 2009, with a 5-shot win at the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. Thoughts on that?
A lot of people, obviously for obvious reasons, have taken a big disliking to Tiger. There were haters before, his scandals just because he won so many times. But I think that it's good for golf that Tiger's back. For those that follow golf, we saw the rise of Rory McIlroy while Tiger was having his down years. Luke Donald is a great golfer. But I mean, Tiger is, besides the scandal, he's just a great face for the sport. You can watch golf, and my favorite question used to just be Tiger or the field, and I hope that we can get back to saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw it out there right away, and I've always been a big Tiger Woods fan. In fact, when he won the Masters in, I think it was 97, his first Masters win, first major win, that was really what started getting me to watch golf. I grew up on a golf course. I grew up on Birch Creek playing golf there, but never really watched golf. Couldn't get into it on TV. Thought it was kind of boring. And then Tiger came along, and he just had energy and fist pumps and big galleries, and he's making crazy shots that nobody else is making. You're like, he's always stuck behind a tree where he's just going to flip around and hit it backwards, and look, it's like 5 feet from the pin. And that excitement is still there for me watching Tiger play golf. It's been very frustrating the last 2 years because you see glimpses of that, but he hasn't been able to put it together. And certainly this year he's come on strong. He's had some high finishes and seemed to be on the right track. And finally put it together this past weekend and was making putts and doing those things that we've seen Tiger do. Now, I don't know that Tiger is all the way back or not, but it certainly brings some excitement back to the sport and brings a lot of excitement going into the Masters coming up, where he has won 4 times and hasn't won a major in a while. That really ups the excitement level for the Masters, I think, even more than it was already at.
Yeah, I'm one of those haters. I respect Tiger. I respect his game. I would expect greatness from someone who's been playing golf since they were 3 years old. But he does bring a lot to the game. It's exciting. I could tell on Sunday when he won that it felt good. I could tell in his reaction that it felt good for him to win again. I agree, kind of ups the level, but I'm kind of rooting for Rory headed into Augusta. But I don't know. I think Tiger's the same. I think he expects more from himself, and it'll be interesting to see if he can play up to the level he expects of himself. So,
yeah, I think that until the day Tiger dies, if he's in a tournament, he's everyone's going to be talking about Tiger. That's just who he is. But I think that even heading into the Masters before this week's tournament, I would have said that he was one of the favorites. But I think this tournament just really showcases a lot that he can still do it. It's taken him quite a long time, but he's faced so many injuries throughout the years, and I think he's really back.
Well, he's finished third in the Masters the last 2 years, or maybe it was fourth, but third or fourth the last 2 years, when his golf game hasn't even been close to what it was before that. He knows this course so well. He knows, he always prepares for the majors. It's his biggest stage, and especially the Masters, I think, is his favorite event to play in and prepare for. And so with his game looking like it's much more on par with what we're used to from Tiger Woods, I definitely expect him to be the favorite going into this week, coming off the win, having some momentum. So should be a fun week in sports, both locally and nationally. And we'll finish with that today. I'd like to thank you for joining us at the Cash Sports Media Sports Desk, and tune in next week.